y'all? Welcome back to another episode of More Than a Title. This is episode 165, y'all. I'm your host as usual, Jarrett, Chief Revenue Officer at Outside the Box Digital. And you know I got my brother, my brethren, your favorite CEO, Chadeo. What's good, baby?
You already know we in the building yet again.
We gave him 2 yesterday.
We gave him 2 yesterday. Come on, man. You know what it is, man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another amazing episode of More Than the Title. And you know how we like to start off every show? G&T. Grateful and thankful, man. Grateful that we got a chance to wake up yet another day to love on our family and love on our friends, man, and show appreciation just for life itself. And thankful, man, for all the people, all the supporters that has helped pave the way and helped us get here today, right? All the good, the bad, the indifference. We love it all. We're thankful, man. G&T, grateful and thankful. You know what it is.
Right, man. Shout out to all the new listeners across all platforms, y'all. We just did some of the numbers, man. We are 4 million views across all platforms in 2024 on a path to 100 episodes this year. So just to give you context, man, we've been doing this for 3 years. In the first 2 years, we probably did 60 episodes. We are up to 87 as of right now. Just in this year, we cranked it up, and the response has been incredible. We appreciate y'all, man, because y'all know it ain't easy to do this, man, but we love what we do, so it's never work.
It ain't easy being greasy.
You about to have some fun, man. Shout out to our distribution partners, man. The Live Podcast Network, the first women-owned, black-owned podcast network, and the largest black-owned podcast network in the world. So if you want more content like More Than the Title, make sure you take out your phone, scan the QR code, download the app, and half of your subscription goes back to your content creators of choice, man. No other platforms giving it up like that, and it's a good time to be alive, baby.
What a time to be alive.
And with that said, we got a great episode lined up for y'all.
Let's start the show.
Get it rocking, man. I'm excited for this episode right here, man. Let me get it rocking. Let's give this brother the proper introduction that he deserves, man.
Yes, sir.
First of all, he's one of the leading experts in helping business owners, CEOs, and founders scale the companies to new heights. He's generated over tens of millions of dollars through his companies to help clients generate over $1 billion in revenue, y'all. He also has a unique approach to building businesses that are profitable, scalable, and sustainable without burnout or sacrificing family life. He's the founder of the Strategic Scale Institute, and he's on a mission to help 1 million service-based business owners add extra 1 million of revenue through automated client attraction systems. You've seen him on all the other big podcasts like Earn Your Leisure, Social Proof, and now this is his first time on More Than the Title. Let's give it up, Marquel Russell, y'all.
Let's go.
My brother.
Let's go. I'm honored to be here, man. I appreciate the opportunity.
Nice love, brother. This is what it's about, man. For first-time listeners, man, this is a show to celebrate brothers like Marquel, man. People that are doing the thing, man. Giving it up in business, doing it the right way, helping others, man, and just being a solid brother, man. Because we getting it out for the mud, and nobody's gonna save us but us. And this information is to get it from brothers like him and give it back to us, so we can all grow together, man. So, with that said, brother, we usually like to take it from the top, man. Tell us about some of your early influences, man. Tell about growing up.
Man, so my early influences, my early influences was Dope Boys, right? So when I grew up, the only people who was getting money.
My fault, I missed it. I was like, God damn, that was real.
I'm gonna just keep it a stack, like right out the gate, right? Of course, we had, it was the rappers and athletes and that type of thing, but the people who was like close to me, who I could relate to, was the Dope Boys, right? So that was the route I went. Like, those were the only people who I knew who was getting money. So I jumped out in the streets. I dropped out of high school in 10th grade, like went full-time in the streets. And then 19, I had my first son and wanted to do the job. I was like, man, I'm gonna do the job thing. I never really gave the job thing a legit run. So I was like, I'm gonna do the job thing. My dad wasn't around when I was growing up. So I was like, I want to be present in my son's life. So I jumped out, tried the job thing. After I came, the first time I met my son, my son, he's actually 21 now. The first time I met him was in visitation, because I was locked up when he was born when I was 19. So met him. I was like, when I get out, I'm gonna do the job thing, do this thing the right way. Jumped out. That was shortly. I took him to the fair one weekend, and we couldn't really do the stuff we wanted to do at the fair. And I was like, man, this ain't really my speed. So I was like, let me jump back out there, because that's the skill I had. So I went back in the streets. But then I knew people who rapped. I knew people who did beats. So I started an entertainment company while I was doing artist management. I started a record label. I bought a whole storefront We turned it into a studio, and then I had people who rap. We brought them together, and I was working my move on the music side. I didn't really know about the music business, but I was like, okay, I figured it out. So I was in the club one night because I started doing club promo because we was in the club so much. Somebody gave me an opportunity to do club promotions. While I was in the club one night, I got introduced to network marketing. So I got invited to a network marketing meeting. I don't know if y'all been to a network marketing meeting before. And they be like, all you gotta do is get two, and they'll get two, and they'll get two.
The multi-level joints.
Yeah, the multi-level joint, right?
The pyramid shit.
Yeah,
exactly. So a lot of people got different relationships to it, but it's like it changed my life. It literally like saved me from the streets. It introduced me to like personal development, and I was like, wow. None of my homies weren't really trying to hear it for real. I had like 2 homies who ended up signing up, but everybody was like, I think I'm good. People like, it was a pyramid scheme, all these different things. But it introduced me to a whole different world, right? And then that led me into online marketing, where I started learning about online marketing, lead generation, things that direct response marketing. And I started teaching what I was learning to other business owners. Initially, it was just to network marketing businesses. And then I was teaching other businesses. We grew a company called Client Attraction University. We grew that company to Inc. 5000, fastest growing companies in America. And then from there, what we discovered,
I get a horn. I can't let you speed past that, baby.
Baby. Don't worry, we're gonna backtrack in a minute. We're gonna backtrack in a minute.
Yeah. And then from there, I discovered that getting clients is just a small piece of growing a company. So we had to do, as I look back and like, how do we scale multiple companies past the 7-figure mark? And we looked at, it takes 8 pillars, right? So we created something called a predictable scale flywheel, which we can dig into. And this predictable scale flywheel is what you require to build a company that's more profitable, more scalable, more sustainable, more enjoyable, and exitable. Like if you want to sell the business, or if you want to just hire a CEO to run the business, where you can actually step away and the business can still run without you. So that's our main focus now. That's what we do at Strategic Scale Institute. It really help entrepreneurs build companies that can actually run without them, versus like hustling and grinding. Like I bought into that hustle grind era at one point. With like, I sleep when I'm dead, hustle, grind. But I found that, man, that's just, it's for the birds, man. And it got diminishing return.
We gotta stop you right there, because there's a couple key points that we gotta touch on. I want to talk about. First of all, you said you dropped out of school in the 10th grade, which is very common in urban communities. Like, we from the Bronx, right? Right? A lot to graduate high school, when we was hustling, nobody gave a fuck about high school. You understand what I'm saying? So I can relate to that directly, because I should have graduated high school at 16. I always was super smart. I cut almost my entire senior year because we was getting so much fucking money. I'm like, fuck going to school. We getting all this money.
Message.
Right. Yeah, so I directly understand what you're saying, but I'm curious, right? I have to understand this, and I want the viewers to understand your path, where we can't speed past it. So when you drop out of school in the 10th grade, you have a 10th grade education, and then you end up getting incarcerated, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So you came out and you said you opened up a business and you started doing business. Did you finish your education and get your GED while you were incarcerated, or did you open this business based on a 10th grade education? That's very important information that I think
that's a great question. That's a great question. So I dropped out early 10th grade. So I technically got like a 9th grade education, right?
Oh, wow.
Fast forward though, I started my GED when I was locked up, right? So I started my GED when I was locked up. And then when I got out, I finished it up, right? So I was probably about, I want to say I was about 17 or so, right? Yeah. So I would say, so I started it locked up, but I got out, and when I came home, I was like, let me go ahead and finish it up. Mom Deuce was like, this gonna be your first big win to like, build off of. So it was kind of a mixture of the two. So it was the GED side. And I'm like you, man. I didn't drop out of school because I was dumb. I was always smart. Like, I was A's and B's the whole 9. Right. Until I was bored. You know what I'm saying? I was in 10th grade. I was already driving to school. I was already getting money. And I was like, algebra. I don't really understand how algebra 2 is gonna help me become a millionaire. Right. And it just got boring. You know what I'm saying? So it was really that for me. It was just that for me. So I even tell my kid, I'm an advocate for education, right?
Yeah.
And I also believe school and education is two different things, right?
Correct.
So I even tell my kids, because my kids go to school, but I let them know the stuff, because sometimes they ask me, like, why are we going to school? I don't get it.
Yeah.
But I let them know that the stuff that you get from school is typically the stuff that they're not technically teaching, right? Yep. So it's like, yeah, a lot of stuff a lot of stuff that you're getting, you aren't gonna need in the real world. Yes, I get that. However, being able to engage with other people, right? That's a skill you're gonna need for the rest of your life. Being able to be around,
You gotta listen to him. You learn something.
Is a skill you're gonna need for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? Being able to be on time, that's a skill you're gonna need the rest of your life. You know, meeting deadlines when they give you projects, that's gonna skill you're gonna need the rest of your life. Doing your best on your project and in your assignments and preparing. These are all, they're not necessarily teaching this, but this is stuff you should be learning though, because this is all stuff you're gonna be able to bring out. You know, and whether it's white people or black people or Hispanic people or people who are gay, people are, you know, it's a lot of different things you're dealing with in school. Yep. But how do you navigate? You're gonna have to be able to navigate through all that in the real world, and that's a lot of stuff you get from school that you can't get. And you know, and that's a lot of stuff they're not teaching that, but that's the stuff that's gonna, you know, be a game changer in the real world.
Yeah, this motherfucker don't miss.
No, he
don't miss. And me and Cuzzo talk about this all the time because and I'm glad that you said it because we talk about it. It's a big difference between school and education, right? But more so now because technology is so prevalent. Like when I went to school, we didn't even have, it was a home phone. Beepers wasn't even out at that point. Like there was no, if you wanted to talk to somebody, it was a house phone. You waited till your ass got home, hit the rotary, and you called somebody. But the lessons that we learned was camaraderie, right? Friendship building, right? Learning how to deal with being rejected. If you like the girl and she didn't want to holler, you wrote her a note, you know, you like me, yes or no, she might check no. A lot of these important skills these kids are missing nowadays. That's why they're so socially awkward, right? That's why you see so many different problems socially arising in our kids where they don't have the self-esteem. They don't have all of these things that we had growing up because they're not experiencing it without all the distractions of the electronics, right? So I agree with you 100% when you say that, man.
I think another big lesson though is the transferable skills that you also learned in the streets, right? So a lot of our audience, bro, are also brothers that are still in the streets. I got a lot of brothers that just come home, right? And I tell them all the time, one, your story is unique. You need to be filming that because that's a whole unique thing that you be doing from a content perspective. But look at all the skills that you learn from the block, right? If I got bud, there's 10 other people that's selling bud on the block. I got to figure out where I got to get it, right? I got to differentiate my product. I got to say, I got to build relationships, all those things. That people like, how are you starting a business? That is a business, right? So the same way that I love the fact that you said, I was in the streets, I learned from that and you knew yourself that I'm not the corporate guy. I can't go that route because I don't feel like there's longevity in that, right? So let me build my own thing. So I'm curious to you, bro, like what was one of the toughest challenges you starting your business after you left the corporate route? What was the toughest challenge?
I think the toughest challenge was like outgrowing, because it's like when you, I think all right, I get this is a perfect example, and I know y'all gonna resonate with this. Yeah. So and a lot of my homies still have this challenge. It's like, and I always tell a lot of homies who like still in the mix, right? So y'all, I know y'all, I only gotta ask y'all seen him Paid in Full?
Of course. Of
course. It's almost insulting. So that's one of my favorite movies. One of my favorite scenes on the movie is when Mitch, they're in the car, him and Ace in the car. Yeah. And Mitch is like, man, I love the game. Right? And Mitch like, if I lead the game, are the fans still gonna love me? Yeah. So that's a question of identity. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I'm money making Mitch, everybody knows me for having to work, for doing this, for driving this. You know what I'm saying? If I switch up, are the fans still gonna love me? So I think one of the biggest challenges for me, and that's why I say network marketing was a game changer for me, because it introduced me to personal development, and it introduced me to like who I was and like how to go deeper, and took me on a personal growth journey. It took me on a spiritual growth journey, and it showed me, it shined the light on a lot of different areas that I weren't aware of, right? So I think the biggest challenge is like me growing personally into who I can become. So I read a quote, it's actually in my journal, and it says that hell on earth is meeting the man you could have been. Right? Right? Imagine that, right? Imagine that, right? So it's like, for me, it was like, because I'm used to like getting money in the streets. That's everybody knew me. Get money in the streets. I always get money. But I went through a transition and when I was learning this legit business, I had to let go of everything that I was doing in the streets. Like I couldn't do both. I thought I could keep this going because it's for show money until this pops off, and then I let it go. But it don't work like that. You actually got to let this go. You actually got to, it's the equivalent of if I only got one hand and Jarrett trying to give me a new phone. I actually got to let this phone go to accept the new phone. But you be like, oh, Marquel, if you let this phone go, it's going to break. It may break, but for me to receive this new phone Jarrett trying to give me, I got to be willing to let it go. And I heard Nipsey say the same thing. Nipsey was like, when he was transitioning from when he was in the streets to doing the music, he was like, he had to go like 2 years locked in the studio, right, for it to really pop. He was like, I had to he was like, I wasn't getting no money. I heard Lil Baby say the same thing. I wasn't getting no money. And I went through the same process. So I went from like the peak of this mountain, like in the streets, to what I had hit it at the top, the highest levels, but I had to go through like this valley, wasn't getting no money, really went broke buying courses and buying trainings, trying to learn this new stuff. And thank God my wife now, my girlfriend at the time, she like held me down during that period while I was in that transitional period. You know what I'm saying? But me having to go through that, to grow through that. And bro, and it was challenging, bro, because at any point I could always go back and get some work. Like I can always call my people and be like, hey man, look, I'm back. You know what I'm saying? And that's the easy thing to do though. But we already know like it ain't no, it's a losing game.
That's a fact.
I gotta chime in though, because when you had said something before, and I said, wait, we gotta stop there. We had this talk with Shans, and Shans loved this, right? When Shans was like, yo, you can't have multiple streams of revenue and be successful. When I challenged them, I said, you wrong. And let me explain why I say this, right? I understand what you guys are saying, right? I understand what you guys are saying. But the base of it is without resources and without a support system, you cannot do anything, right? So I understand that, yes, the more time that you can focus on one thing, obviously, the better that you can get. But without a certain level of resources and things to even get started, then you're at zero. You understand what I'm saying? We did music. And I don't know if you see, I'm in the studio right now. I've had home studios. I've been in music 20 years already, easily, right? But guess what? This fucking trackboard was $3,000. This G5 Mac was $5,000. You understand what I'm saying? Just building the studio itself before I could even do anything was $10,000, $15,000 of equipment. You understand what I'm saying? If you don't have that money, you cannot get started. You understand? So I think it has to be a healthy balance of whether you're using a 9-to-5 job to funnel, your business to get it up and running, or you're getting street money. You have to have some type of either financial resources that you're getting yourself or somebody else holding you down to even give you a chance to get started, because there are some people that will help you for free. I'm not saying there's not, but for the people that you need to help you, you got to have skin in the game. Nobody's gonna really take you seriously if you're showing, oh, you want me to help you because I'm where I am, but what have you invested in yourself to show me that you're serious about this?
That's a fact.
So I think two things can be true, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think two things can be true. I agree that multiple streams of revenue can work for some people. Like, hey, because I always tell people, like, some people ask me like, hey, when should I quit my job? And I'm like, because a lot of times people bash jobs. I don't bash jobs. I think jobs, it's a place for jobs. So I'm like, hey, leverage your job to fund your business. Like you mentioned Shans, that's what Shans did, right? Now, what I don't agree with, when people say all millionaires have multiple streams of income, right? I don't agree with that. Right, okay. Because that's not 100% the case, right? As long as and I also think a lot of times that's a cop out for people to not be focused, right? Because everybody, like my man, like Chadeo said, I did the studio, I did other things. Most people don't have the capacity to do multiple things, right? So some people have to lock in and get focused on one thing, right? Because otherwise they'll buy into this idea that I'm just doing this because I'm a serial entrepreneur and I do multiple things. And but none of the stuff is working though. But they're doing multiple things, but nothing is working. So they don't have multiple streams. They just got multiple distractions. Now, if you legit got multiple streams, like you got this popping, and it's actually generating to a goal, that's different. But sometimes people use that just to justify them being distracted and for a lack of focus. So I agree, bro. I think two things can be true.
Yeah, but that was kind of like the debate that they were having, right? And I agree with you, because look what happened with us, Cuzzo. When we fully focused on this, right? We've been doing this for 3 years. This past year, we could say we went all in on this podcast. Look at the results of the all in, is all I'm saying, right? So I do agree. It's like what Shans was saying, like, what do you want to be known for, right? Like, yes, you got the clothes business, you got the digital business, you got this, you got the podcast, but what you're doing is really confusing the consumer, because they're like, what are you known for?
What are you known for?
Like, what are you really known for? So I agree on that aspect. As far as having multiple streams of income, that has to happen once you get the first thing correct.
Right. But again, all I'm saying is we've gone all in, right? So Marquel, look, we're all in, right? We don't have jobs anymore, right? But be clear, Cuzzo was doing this podcast before me as a inbound engine tool for his job. See, you got to understand the context for his job. He created it as an inbound engine tool for his job to generate leads, and then he started making money for his employer. That's how the podcast started. But once he left his job and then came to me and said, I want to turn this into a business, I turned it into a business within a week. I can't do that without resources. Yeah. You see, 100%. and then we went on our first trip and stuff. We met Shans 1 month after opening this fucking business. We took a trip out to Miami, met Shans and things of that nature. But that was only possible because I was able to leverage what I had already built and everything I had already built up, working and with the other companies, my equity, my credit lines, and all that to create the company, get us equity, get us credit lines, and have the resources available to do that. So that's all I'm saying, right? And as far as like millionaires having multiple streams of income, I understand the confusion in that. Because there's a lot of teachings that say you need 7 streams of income to become a millionaire. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. And I'm 100%. I don't agree with it.
Right.
Though.
Right. No. I'm just saying. But with me taking business classes and getting my degree in business and things of that nature, what I found that to be is like a lot of the streams of income actually come from investments where you don't have to actually do anything and your money is growing for you. It's just invested in something else. So they say most millionaires historically have gotten their money from real estate, right? So it's like, okay, I have a real estate property. I live somewhere else. I work somewhere else, but my real estate is generating income from me. Then they take that money and invest it into the stock market and things of that nature, which creates another stream of revenue in stocks and bonds and investments that they don't have to actively kind of work on and stuff like that. So I think that's where the mentality came from.
Yeah. So here's my philosophy around it. Generally speaking, multiple streams of income is a tool of the rich, not a tool to get rich.
I like that.
The tool of the rich, right? Not a tool to get rich. If you want to get rich, you got to get focused and lock in on something. You got to get locked. Now, not including your job, because you're going to use your job to do whatever you want to do, but you got to lock in on something. Because I look at it like this. A stream, if you think about bodies of water, right? If you think about a stream and rivers, streams normally come off a big body of water, right? So you got to build a big body of water, whatever that may be. Right, you may be an expert. So we'll use Shans since we're talking about Shans. Shans has a big body of water with his social proof media asset, right? So now he's able to do events and fill events. Now he's able to do merch. He's able to do speaking. He's able to do books because he built a body of water. A lot of times people don't take the time to build a big body of water. So if I build my big body of water around what I do, that's going to lead to speaking opportunities. That's going to lead to podcast opportunities. It's going to lead to books. That's going to lead to equity opportunities and equity in other companies. It's going to lead to these different things because I've built the body of water. So people know that when they say my name, they know it's synonymous with a specific thing. They're not like, okay, that dude Marquel, I don't know. I see him all over the place, but I ain't really sure what he does. You know what I'm saying? When they go to my platforms, it's clear. It's not like, dang, it seemed like buddy all over the place. Because we already know when we from the hood, it's like the dude who all over the place. They like, I don't know, man, bro. I always got something going on. I seem like he be scamming. It seems like he be doing this. I don't really know. I can't really put my finger on it. You know what I'm saying? Even when I was in the streets, like my thing was I had the weed. Like I could get anything, right? However, my specialty was the weed. That was my. I was all in on that. That was my like even from high school all the way up. Like that was my thing. Now whatever you want, I can get it. But I went on the front end marketing everything. I can get you anything that you needed. But like this was my I was all in on that. Was my specialty, and that's what my name was built around. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. Bro. So, but I want to ask you about the multi-level marketing thing, right? So where a lot of people fail is because they don't have the network of relationships in order to grow that business. So when you left that and started doing the online, like what was the way for you to get the inbound? What was the way for you to build your brand? What was one of the biggest things that helped you get that pipeline and build the community?
The internet, man, really learning social media. So like, because like when I was doing club promotions, my homie Rick, he was my business partner when we did club promotion together. Rick came from the college world. And y'all probably remember college students, they got access to Facebook before the rest of the world did. Because that was it was initially a platform for college. So he was already on it because he went to college. Me, I'm in the street. So I'm like, bro, I ain't posting on no social media. Like nowadays, these cats be posting everything on social media. I'm like, that's crazy. But it's like the life I was living, it's not social media worthy. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I'm like, I'm good. He created me a Facebook page though, but he just used it to post my flyers. And apparently, you could easily connect with all the people I went to school with because that's how Facebook was set up. So I was like, interesting. I never posted. I didn't start posting personally until I got into network marketing because I saw it as a way to start increasing my warm market. Because again, my homies who I grew up with, they weren't on that.
Facts. That's real.
I mean that makes absolute perfect sense to me. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
That's why
social media was a game. I didn't know people was getting money online. I was like, that's crazy. And I came on, I saw cats selling stuff, and I'm like, at this point, it wasn't as many black people online teaching how it is now, right? When I came in the game, it was like mostly white people teaching. And when I came in, I'm like, dang man, who gonna listen to me? I'm like young black dude coming to the game, and everybody white, older white guys, typically older white women or younger white women or whatever. But I'm like, man, teach it in a course. And I'm like, they're telling me for $97, they're gonna teach me how they made millions. They're gonna for $297. I'm like, I'm in. Like, I'm buying everything I can get my hands on. I was like, okay, because again, I always if there was something to it, I know I could figure it out and get something out of it.
Yep. So when you say like helping, with your business, when you're helping clients generate it, right? There's a lot of different forms of online marketing, right? There's SEO, there's content, there's and programmatic, online ads, whatever you. So what was the one thing that you felt to be most effective for you guys? Like that you was like, oh no, this is the way that's repeatable.
For me in that phase, it was content marketing. So it was creating content, specifically YouTube, right? And I also learned, you mentioned SEO. I also learned, I was doing just straight content on YouTube. And then I learned how to do video SEO. So I could actually rank videos on the first page of Google and the first page of YouTube. So that was the second one, learning how to rank videos and then rank blog articles. And then later on down the line, I started learning Facebook ads. When I learned Facebook ads, it was game over.
It's still, I'll be dabbling in Facebook. I don't know, bro. Once you find it, there's a lot of different variables. You got to have the right landing page, the right CTA, all of that stuff. Right, you know what I mean. The right.
We got to get together on it, bro. Like when I learned Facebook ads, bro, game over.
God damn, I'm doing organic.
No,
the perfect mixture is both. The perfect mixture is having the content and then having the ads. And because your ads are going to make your content get more views, and then your content is going to make your ads more profitable. So when you can weave the two in, like what y'all already doing with like long form content, and y'all take long form content and then you tie that with paid ads, it's just going to add gasoline to it. So imagine if y'all take the clips that y'all take from these episodes and then you run $2 per day ads on each one of them, right? Or y'all take the long form episodes and if you can run ads to a long form episode and then you can build individual audiences. So now y'all can start marketing to them, y'all merch or whatever else that y'all selling on the back end of the shows.
Yeah, that's what Shan's does. is notorious for that. Taking his like, for example, the thing that he's doing, the hot seat. He puts those ads, that's on Instagram, and yeah, I've known a lot of people to do it. Again, Marquel, and we talk about why entrepreneurs have to wear so many hats. So this is where the hustle comes in, right? Again, you want, not you, right? But the idea is like, okay, you want me to be focused on one thing, but it is so many different things that I must learn to get this business off the ground to where I could even think about hiring somebody or asking for help, that I have to kind of be a jack of so many trades to get some type of traction on this thing, to get it moving, right? To get other resources coming in where I don't have to go to work anymore, where I can concentrate on this. Because at the end of the day, right? Look, doing something, and this is why we talk about education being so important. Education, right? If you learned this thing in school when you had no responsibilities, right? You see, they're teaching all of these things in school now, sexual orientation of fucking kindergartners, and you're teaching all this bullshit to kids now, but you know what you're not teaching? You're not teaching financial literacy. Why is that never a course in any fucking school?
Coding.
You understand what I'm saying? Why are you not? And I make this argument to people all the time. I'll be like, y'all don't even realize the simple shit. I said, when I went to school, it was 2 fucking alphabets on the board. It was the print alphabet, and it was cursive right above it. I learned cursive handwriting in fucking kindergarten, 1st, 2nd grade coming up. They don't even teach cursive handwriting no more. But guess what? All checks are not digital. Some people still get paid in paper checks. If you take a paper check to the bank and you write your name in print, they could say, we are not cashing that check, because it says endorsed, which means script, a signature. You see what I'm saying? I've had guys that made $100,000, $200,000 that have to walk around with an illiteracy card that says, I'm illiterate. I can't read or write, to present it to the bank, that when they put an X, when they can just put an X on the back of the check, they can accept that and say, well, you don't know how to do it. But look at what we're talking about. Just the simple fundamental things that they're not teaching us to prepare us to understand what it is to be something like this.
But we know why that is, all right. The school
because they want to be working and not
to be independent. 100%. And back to your point, bro. Back to your point, Chadeo, because I agree 100%. I think as a business owner, I tell people all the time, in terms of I'm a generalist. So I talk about being a specialist, right? Which I think is important. I also think for me and individuals, especially us starters, I'm a generalist specialist. And what I mean by a generalist specialist, in our company, I pretty much know how to do everything because I've had to do everything at one point. So it's seasons to it, right? So I know how to run ads. I know how to do sales calls. I know how to train. I know how to create systems and SOPs. I know how to do customer service. I know how to coach. I know how to do all the things. I know how to create slideshow presentations. I know how to do the stuff because I've had to do it at one point. However, I think that as we're doing it, to go from entrepreneur to business owner to CEO and like go through the transition, we got to think through the process as a business architect. Right. And what I mean by that is like, all right, yes, if you're a solopreneur right now, either full-time or you still work a job, from a business standpoint, understand that the value in your business is the systems. So everything you do in your business right now, there's a system. You need to design a system to it. So if you edit your own reels right now, you should be creating a SOP around how do you edit your reels, and then how do you upload them? Because at some point you're going to have to hand that off to somebody else for them to do it.
Right.
Method. How you teach them. If you do your sales calls right now, you don't need to be freestyling your sales calls. You need to have a specific defined script of how you do the sales call, because eventually you're going to hire somebody to do that. Right. I'm sure when y'all launch this podcast, y'all ain't just sitting down and just like, y'all got a whole process. You're going to press this. You're going to press this. Now, obviously, at some point, you know how to do it without thinking about it. Yeah. But there's really no value in you knowing how to do it without thinking about it if you're going to build a business. That's called tribal knowledge. You got to actually have everything systemized outside your head. So if y'all decide to pull out and y'all put 2 other people in y'all seat to still host the show, they still know how to hit the same buttons at the same certain points. They know how to, the mic should be at this point. Here's how you know when they mic ain't right. all the different things. Like there should be a defined process. That's why you can see like a Chick-fil-A or a McDonald's or all these different companies that can be ran by 14 and 15-year-olds because everything is defined and is systemized. So as business owners, even if you're just starting as a single person operation, you want to think about the business as that. So now anything that's done in the business, it can actually be systemized, even all the way down to checking your email. It's a process to doing that. So now you can hand that off at some point, and somebody else is now checking your email, and then they got a specific process on how to do it.
I saw that on you when I hit you up. He was like, "Yo, bro, the automated email. I only check my emails at 12 to 3. If you're this, you're that. If you go in here for this, if you're a podcast, do this, do that." Like I was like, I never saw that. Too dedicated. Yeah, like real talk, I've seen that.
Well, we do that. We create systems and things of that nature. My value, and I think this is where a lot of people who have become wealthy, right, through either entrepreneurship or sports or entertainment, this is where they went wrong. They were not a generalized specialist, right?
Yeah.
They weren't. And because you weren't, when you start to delegate these roles to other people and you don't understand exactly what that role looks like, that's how you get taken advantage of. That's
100%.
exactly how you get taken advantage of. So I appreciate, and this is what I was saying with Shan's, like I appreciate the process of knowing how to do 8, 9, 10 things, right? Because now once I hire somebody or intern, whatever, to do it, I can go back and say, this is what you're doing wrong, or I can check them, right? Which is extremely important when we're talking business, because now finances are involved and mistakes are costly.
Yeah. I see it all the time. I see it all the time. People go hire an ad agency. Yeah. When they say the ad agency screwed them over, but they don't really, they don't know what done looks like. They don't understand KPIs. They don't know how ads work. They don't know what numbers should look like. So now you're going to hire somebody. They're hiring a content agent. They don't know what the stuff should look like. Right. So I agree with you. Get the thing going, get a defined process. So now when you hire somebody, you like, hey, here's how we've always done it. Here's the results we got from it. We want to see how you can improve it or make this better. But now you got something to weigh their performance at. Or like you said, you're going to be taken advantage of because you don't know what you're buying.
Yeah, that's real, bro. And it's something that we said in the intro too, bro. You said helping businesses scale and be repeatable without sacrificing burnout or time away from the family, right? Yeah. So I would love to hear from you. Like, what was that moment? So I'm pretty sure in the beginning days, you're working 12, 14 hours. This is your baby. You're trying to figure out ways how you can be more efficient. Like, what was that transition like, bro? Like, when did it click to say, this is my system, I'm writing it out, I'm doing this? Like, how long did it take you to get to kind of, where you rocket fuel?
So I'm gonna be honest with you. So I think in the early stages, I didn't really realize how valuable what I was doing was. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I didn't really realize it. And I think even now, what I do, I oftentimes have to be reminded of how valuable what I do, because I do the work. I don't do nothing for trophies. I don't do nothing for shout outs and recognition. It's like I do the work because it's like what I'm called to do. And I'm more interested in my clients winning. So people ask me why I don't flash certain stuff online and all that. I'm like, number one, I come from a different world, and it's like certain stuff you just don't do. Number two, the real wins for me is my clients winning, not how much money I make. Anybody can make money, right? Anybody can sell and market for the most part, right? But at the end of the day, could I make more money if I flashed on the internet and all this different type of stuff? Possibly. It's like that just ain't my thing. So I'm like locked in on that. Now, the breakthrough moment for me was one year. This was before we even got to 6 figures. I texted my homie Dre, my business partner, and I was like, hey, bro, this year I'm focused on working less and making more. So at this point, before that, I used to work 7 days a week. And I was like, going into this year, I'm going to work Monday through Thursday, right? That's it. And when I made that shift, we actually broke through the 6-figure mark. And then it started to snowball, because what that showed me was that it's not the quantity of the time that you work, it's the quality of the time. And like, what are you focused on? Like, what are you doing in the time? It's this thing called the Parkinson's law. And basically Parkinson's law says the amount of time you give to do a thing is going to be the amount of time it takes to actually make the thing happen, right? So if I give myself 7 days to do the thing, it's going to take 7 days to do the thing, right? But if I give myself 4, and I give you a specific example. If whoever was like, let's say Thursday you was leaving for vacation, you was going to be gone for a week. Wednesday was probably the most productive day of your life, because you got so much done on Wednesday because you knew you was going to be gone. You knew the Wi-Fi wasn't going to be as strong. So you got all types of stuff done. So that's an example of Parkinson's law in real effect. So I saw, number one, that I can condense the amount of time that I work to focus on the main thing. Number two, when it came to systems, I started realizing that we don't really build businesses to work. We build businesses to create freedom. So a lot of times we see it all the time. People will quit their job and come and say, and they want to be their own boss. And the worst thing about that is that they're their only boss, they're their own boss, and they're their own employee, right? So now they come into this entrepreneurial world and they make less than they made on their job, right? And they work longer than they worked on their job. And they're more stressed than they were on their job. So it's all but they came into business for freedom, right? I love my guy Shans, because Shans is one of the few people who is honest. I saw Shans say the other day, he was like, man, the first year I made $250,000 as an entrepreneur. He said I only took home about $30,000. He said I used to make more than that at Cheesecake Factory.
That was
right. But most people ain't gonna talk about that. Everybody be acting like it's all good. Everybody 7-figure earners, everybody this. They lying, right? Like making 7 figures in sales is one thing, right? Making 7 figures in revenue is another thing, right? Making $1 million in profit is another thing, and being a millionaire is a whole nother thing, right? These are all different things, but we use these words interchangeably. So when I start understanding that, and I was like, okay, I started seeing that most of the stuff I'm seeing on the internet is lies, right? And it's just fabricated. So I had to start doing my own work and start doing things a little bit differently. And I started realizing, if I want to scale, most people think that scale means more, bigger, faster. Scale simply means multiplication and duplication. That's what. So how this played out for me. So at one point it was just me. I was doing coaching calls. I was handling customer support. I was doing the ads. I was doing the whole 9, right? And then I hired a salesperson. And now I was used to doing all the sales myself. So a part of my identity, again, this is an identity thing that we deal with as entrepreneurs. I had to give off the sales calls. But then my guy who was training me on this process, he helped me with that because he knew it was going to come. He was like, your identity is around doing the sales. So I had to let that go and begin to shift my identity, right? That was scale. I had duplicated myself, right? And then I hired my partner, Dre. Actually, I used to do all the coaching calls, and he was more so behind the scenes. He started taking over the coaching calls, right? He started taking over some of the coaching calls, and then he eventually took over all of them, right? So again, that was me. That was scale. I had duplicated myself again. So now I can serve at an even higher level. And then I ended up hiring a VA who came on. She was an assistant at that one. She's an operations director now, but she came on as a VA. And she started handling customer support. And I told her from the get-go, I don't want a VA who's going to wait on me to do tasks. I want somebody who's going to find better ways, systemize things and see different things about how we can do things better. That's your role. And then again, she grew into operations director. So this was different scale at different elements, because y'all know, like, if we're by ourselves, it's typically going to take us anywhere from 5 to 10 people to just duplicate what we do as an individual. Right. So I used to build funnels. I used to write copy. I used to do ads. I used to do, you know what I'm saying? That can be 3 people right there. If you don't hire one person who can do all of them. Right. So I start understanding these specific things and start detaching from all the stuff that I was seeing on the internet, and was like, okay, what is actually real in this space and what is not? And then really start defining what success really looks like to me, and not getting caught up in like chasing these arbitrary goals that I got caught up chasing after.
They have to give you a goody one for that talk to him. But that was a good segue too. I don't know if you're going to ask this too, because what does success look like for you? How do you define success right now? Everybody has their own metric. But what's success?
Success to me is, I'll say it this way. Here's my scoreboard, right? So, because like I used to say, success to me is having a clear vision and waking up every day, chipping away at it, right? But to me, when I say that, well, like, what does that mean? Like, how do you make that tangible? So my scoreboard is when I wake up in the morning, 99% of the time, I'm home to wake my kids up in the morning, right? Iron their clothes, pray with them, do affirmations. We talk before they go to school, make their smoothies or fix them fruit. We just have a conversation before they go see my wife, the whole 9 yards, right? That's success to me, right? My kids get home, I'm home. Before they go to bed, I'm there. 99% of the time. We talk about what when they get home from school. Hey, what was the happiest moment of your life today? I mean, at school today. What made you mad? Right? Being able to have those conversations, like that success. My dad wasn't around when I was growing up. I don't really know how to do. Nobody married where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? So learning that game, being present as a husband, learning as a husband, growing in that particular area, growing as a father. Can't nobody taught me how to do it. Wasn't nobody around to teach me how to do it. I didn't see married couples like that growing up. You know what I'm saying? So success to me is being able to show up. Like the money stuff is cool. How people see me in the marketplace, that's cool. But it's like I don't get caught up in that because I learned that if you live by, if you live by the applauses, you'll die by the boo. So I don't get caught up in like what people who I don't even know say about me. Right? I'm more concerned with who I am at home to the people that that's gonna be here like no matter what. And that's the like the numbers and all that is cool. I done hit the numbers, I done had the cars, and we do the vacations and we do that stuff. But it's like a lot of that stuff is fleeting though.
That's real.
I mean that, but
Great metric.
It's a phenomenal metric. And the only thing I have to add in that is individuals are allowed to have their own success metric, right?
Yeah,
100%. It's just mine.
I mean?
It took me a minute.
Yeah.
It took me a minute. I had to get to them. I'm like, what? That's what I'm like, what is it? Because like one day I was like, okay, this is a revenue goal, but I was like, but why? Why do I want to hit that?
Right.
And I was like, what do I really want to make? Like, what do I want to take home? Because what the business makes and what I take home is real no direct correlation unless you're optimizing for it. So I was like, based on the life that I want, what do I personally have to make to fund this life? And then based on that, now we can optimize for the business to create that versus me just chasing an arbitrary goal just for the sake of chasing just because this person said this what you should be making, or this what this person saying that they're making. Me trying to say, okay, well, I need to be making that too type of thing.
Yeah.
We say that all the time, bro.
We say that shit all. We talked about Marquel. We talked about that shit yesterday when we was talking about the Tyson, the Bakary, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was saying the same thing. I was saying, you know, like I'm not in business. My goal is never to be like when I was in the streets, Marquel, I never wanted to be money making Mitch. I never wanted to be whoever, Big Meech. I never, even though my family lived it, generation, like all of our families was doing the same thing, I never wanted that shit. You understand? I had a clear and concise goal of why am I hustling?
Yeah,
I'm hustling because if I don't get up, and I'm talking like 6, 7, 8 years old, if I don't get out here and get this bread, we might not fucking eat tonight.
Mm-hmm.
It's a difference, right? It was a difference in my motivation, right? And I was thinking along those lines, not knowing, you know how you could think and know that you want to do something, but not know why you're doing it or not know like the literary term of it, but you just understand it. I never wanted that. I never wanted to be the biggest. I don't give a fuck about being the biggest. I said, if we don't get money, we don't eat, right? Yeah. So I hustled. I got money. Yeah. We ate. Yeah. Right? Now I said, okay, now we eating. I don't like the way I'm living. How do I change that? So I hustled, got money, changed the way I lived, and then I stopped hustling. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like once I hit that goal, it didn't matter how much money I had. I can eat comfortably now. I'm educated now. I got a job that can provide to me legally what I'm making in the streets without me having to look over my shoulder, get locked up, etc. Then I don't need to do this anymore, right? So everybody has to have their standard of metric, right, of what success is. And I'm with you. See, the only difference with me is at this point in my life, like my oldest son is 20, he'll be 23. He grown already. You know what I'm saying? Like he works on the business with me now, right? My youngest son is 16. I'm more interested now for me in teaching what I've learned fundamentally on what it is to have a job, what it is to support your life, financial literacy, so that they can understand whatever life you want to lead. You have to create that foundation and that system to live that type of lifestyle. So I'm with you 120%, bro. 120%, man. Yeah. You have to create a lifestyle that supports you. And I think initially that's what the goal of retirement was supposed to be for Americans. When they talk about the American dream and working a job for 20 years, retiring with a pension and things of that nature, and having a savings account, 401k, Roth or something like that, was creating that freedom to say, okay, I don't have to work anymore unless I want to, right? What do I do now with my time? What are the things that I feel are important that I want to invest into time-wise to now have that flourish and nurture and things of that nature. The only difference now is just economically, the world is in such a bad place. It's in such a bad place that more and more often, a lot of people that are retiring can't stay retired. They can't stay retired, right? Because one, economically, you just didn't make enough so that on your retirement salary, it's still not enough to live versus the cost of inflation and things of that nature. Also, let's say like you did your thing. Like I went to the military, Marquel. That's what really saved my life. I went to the Marines. But all the guys that I went into the Marines with at 17, they're all retired at 37, 38, right? So if I retire at 37, 38 on a military salary, I can't get Social Security till I'm 67. That's 40, another 30, 40 fucking years on that salary, even though the benefits was good and da-da-da, I can't survive on that.
For sure.
So technically, 100%. I've dedicated myself to something, 20 years of my life, right? That now I have to make a decision to say, I have to now start over and start a whole nother career now at 37, 38, whatever, to build from scratch now, not as a youngster now. Now I might have the house already. I got the house already. Now I got responsibilities. I got kids already. Now I got the car note already. Now it's not so easy to pivot and start brand new. And I think that's the reason that a lot of people are failing in their entrepreneurial journey and in their just life journey in general, because they don't have the resources that it takes to do what they want to do in any capacity other than just be like a slave to the system. You understand?
For sure. And in the work.
Yeah.
And the clarity. I think the clarity. I think the clarity is the clarity. Like what do you want? Like it's off. I mean, you'd be surprised like how many people can't answer that question. Like, what do you want? Oh, financial freedom. What does that mean? I just want what you got. I don't have somebody tell me one time, I want what you got. I'm like, you sure? like
how the fuck you even know what I got, motherfucker?
Right. It's just what they see. It's like I lost my mom on this journey. It's like your mom's still alive.
Yeah.
Your mom's still alive. Oh yeah.
Right.
You wouldn't lose your mom. Like I lost my brother died 5 years ago. Like you want to lose that? Like what do you mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like what do you want? Like individuals can't really sit down. Like, why do you want that number? Like, what does that pay? Have you sat down and ran and did the math on what it's going to require to afford that life that you want? Have you did the number? And most people haven't. Right? Have you did it? Like to drive, if you want to drive a Rolls Royce, you can lease a Rolls Royce for $5,000 a month. Like you don't require no crazy money if that's what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying that you got to do that. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it, but what do you want to do? The thing that changed the game for me, one of the ways, when I first got to $10,000 a month, because early on, that was the holy grail, get the $10,000 a month, right? You win it. So one thing I did was my girlfriend at the time, my amazing wife, she actually, she was a bartender. And one thing, I was trying to figure this online stuff out, right? And I was like, man, I want to get to 10,000. I sat down one day and I did the math on how much is all of our bills. Like how much is all of our bills? How much is all of our monthly expenses? That clarity made me dangerous. It wasn't 10,000 a month. So I was like, I actually don't got to get to 10,000 a month to retire my wife. I forgot exactly what it was, the exact number. But I was like, when I hit this number and I can hit that consistently, now she don't got to go be a bartender. Right. But that clarity helped me become a dangerous man. And then from there, I could, okay, now we've accomplished that. Now, okay, what is it next, right? And then, you know, as you start growing, you'll get away from all that. And now as you're making more money, it's costing you more money to make more money, right? Yeah. So there's that. So that, again, that all comes with getting out of alignment and the lack of clarity. Because I know I'm a guy, I like growth. I like fast growth. I like consistency, right? So I'm like, all right, we hit that goal. Now let's hit another goal. We hit that goal. Let's hit it. Now we got to do it bigger. Now we got to do it bigger. We got to do it bigger. And I was obsessed with bigger, faster. And then I realized, dang, we making more money month over month, year over year, but it's costing us more money to make the money. And I'm like, that ain't right. So let's scale this thing back. Right. And focus on what we're supposed to be focused on and not getting caught up. So it goes back to that clear, like, what exactly do you want? I don't want to be a speaker. I want to be a speaker where I'm traveling 320, 330 days a year because I like being home. Now, is that wrong for somebody else to want that? No, I just don't want that. Right. So I got to be crystal clear on what I want. And again, that clarity makes you dangerous because now you know what to say no to. Now you should know what to say yes to, and you got like a rubric of how you make decisions versus just saying yes, 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 because it's just a path to just more, which can ends up being meaningless if you're not careful.
And I just want to add one thing to that. And you're exactly right, because once again, Mark, I did that at a young age, and I understood that. One thing I also understood, which has helped me survive at the level that I've been, was understanding the cost of living, how I wanted to live versus the money that I was making, and understanding the ratio of income to debt, right? Yep. Income to debt, right? Just because now I'm making 200 doesn't mean increase my lifestyle to 2, because most people do this. You make 40,000, your lifestyle increases to 50,000, 60,000. Because you over leverage yourself. You make 100, now you go get that fucking Mercedes or the BM, now your lifestyle's at 150. You keep increasing your lifestyle to match your income, not understanding that the way that you, like when we talk about the difference between making $1 million and being a millionaire, that's the key to that, right? Liquid money. What are you liquid, right? Because at the end of the day, coming from the streets, one of the best lessons that I learned in the streets was that fast money is dope, but at any given fucking day, it can end.
And not only good money.
But what do you do then, right? So if I got 300 in the bank, but my lifestyle is 150, 200, whatever it is, and then I get knocked. Now I need lawyer money, this money, that money, but this lifestyle is still what it is. Once that all that liquid is gone now, but now this lifestyle is still unmaintainable because I created it. Now, you have a wife. You might retire your wife, but you're creating the empire. If anything happens to you now and she can't hold that empire down, it all crumbles.
That's right. 100%. And I also want to go back to what you said, bro. Like when you said the dude said, I want exactly what you have. And you said, I took losses, man. My mom, my brother, bro. And a lot of people don't see the trials and tribulations we go through, bro. How did you get through that? Because I could only imagine, same like us, brother. I can only imagine. That's what I do it for. They got to see it. This is for them. This is for all of us. I want them at the barbecue, to this, to that, to, quit mom. Mom ain't got to go there and all that. So how did you go through that, man? If you don't mind sharing.
Man, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like the only explanation for where I am, bro, is God, bro. It's like that's literally the only explanation. Like I tell people, like nobody. I get you get a lot of intellectuals and things of that nature, but like nobody can tell me how that God ain't real. Right? That's literally. Like I've experienced, because a lot of times we'll try to intellectualize God and they'll be like, well, this doesn't make sense, or this doesn't make sense, because it's God. God ain't gonna make sense, right? Like it's an infinite God. It's not gonna intellectually make sense, right? You got to experience it, and I've experienced God, and I look back over my life, and that there's zero explanation. But one of my homies, he just came home last year. He did 17. Right, 17 straight. This my guy. We used to be together every day. My guy, right? He did 17. One of my homies I grew up with, he died. He probably died. He probably been going on, I think, almost 10 years now, right? Got killed in Pittsburgh, right? And we used to go back and forth to Pittsburgh. Got killed. Like my other homie, my guy, he went to the feds. He probably did like 18 or something like that. Me and him was texting other. He home now, but he was like, man, I often sometimes think like, if I want to win away and I want to win away, like what will we be doing now? Right. And I'm like, oh, what would have not only what would we be doing now, what could have happened to us? You get what I'm saying? That could have happened. So it's like for me to it's not because I was smarter than them. It's not because I was better than them. It's not because God favored me more than them. I don't know. I don't have an explanation, bro. It's like, people ask me, man, what made you want to get into doing all this? Like, I didn't want to get into all this. I wanted to get money and nobody know who I am. I never wanted to be on stages and people know me when I'm out in public and people walking to me want to take pictures. Like, that was never part of the plan, right? I always wanted to get money. And even when I was getting money in the streets, I would never ride nothing crazy where people see me. I always rode like, I was driving a 1994 Lumina. I had an 84 Camry 4-door. The reverse went out on it one time. We still getting crazy money, but I'm still riding around in it. That's just how I move. You know what I'm saying? I never wanted to be that guy.
Yeah.
And I was telling my homie the other day, I was like, no matter how much I try to fall back, God always pulled me forward. Like even in my church, I'm there to support my pastors, but it's like now they got me in the pulpit doing sermons. It's like I never went there for that. But it's like God, like I didn't create you to be a behind the scenes. Like your story, what you've gone through is meant to be, it was meant for other people. You know what I'm saying? So, bro, I literally have zero. I done been at gunpoint multiple times. I done been in a club with cats are shooting. Like I done been in some crazy situations. And for me to live to talk about it, bro, the only I can't tell you, man, personal development, or I had these affirmations and that got me through it, or I was just strong, or I'm just built like that. I don't got that. I don't got that for you, bro. It's like the only explanation I got, bro, is God. Like hands down. That's the only way I got through it. I like losing my mom. You know, my brother is like, that's the only explanation, bro. I swear.
That's real, man. And I agree with you 100%, man. Like I'm not the most. I'm a spirit. We like to say we're spiritual brothers. You know what I'm saying? And we manifest. We affirm a lot of things that we want to do. Just even how we met Shans. I'll give you the quick one. And just so many things that have happened over our business that are unexplainable. Yeah, unexplainable. We even talk about Black Week. Let's talk about Black Week. We going down like for instance, something told me to go outside. We sitting in the green room waiting for producers. Something tells me to go get a coffee. You know who's out there getting a coffee? Torre. Grab Torre. Now we got an interview with Torre. I go outside real quick. Let me just put some money in the meter in the car. We come back to get on the elevator. Yo, that's Nate Parker right there from Birth of a Nate. Yo, come here. Let's do the interview. Right there. Yo, it was another story. We had a birthday party. Took a random picture with a young lady, bro. She's sitting there on the steps. I just photobomb. Some just said, go there now. Photobomb. Do you. Boom, took the picture with the young lady, and she invites us to a networking conference. That's where we met Mav Hoffa and Champ, and that was one of our biggest interviews of last year. You know what I'm trying to say? Just alignment, bro.
When you in alignment, that's how it works, right? I just finished this book called The Surrender Experiment. Okay. And that's been my word for the year, surrender, right? Because like I've always tried to have control, and I'm a goal getter and I need to hit the goal this way and I need to be linear and things of that nature. And it's like, no, when you're in surrender, you actually allow what's supposed to happen and you're not attached to how you think it's supposed to happen. So that just show y'all in alignment, bro. The things are lining up exactly how it's supposed to line up. And
so, you know what, dude? I just want to add this. I want to add this in there though. One of the key parts to make all of these things possible, Marquel, is the fact of you associating yourself with people of like-mindedness. And we can't not mention that, right? Be clear. Like I said, I've been doing music for like 20 years. My cousin did music. We don't do business of music together. See the difference? Because we couldn't agree on the understanding of how to do business of music together. So we still was cousins. We take trips. We everywhere together, in and out the country. We live life together. We celebrate together, but we didn't do business together. But when he came to me with the podcast, and I said to him, I don't know a fucking podcast. I do music. You know what I do? Like, I run businesses. And he like, but I do podcasts. But when I seen what he was doing, the way he was doing it, I can't explain it. He'll tell you. I was like, I didn't even argue. I'm like, all right, you ready now? It was just something that said, okay, now you understand. Now you're ready. Now let's make this a business. Now let's go. Right? But only because I looked at him and said, he's mature enough now to understand. He's educated enough. He has experience enough to take this thing seriously. More often than not, and I think this is where a lot of us go wrong as children, when we grow up and we develop these relationships with the homies, everything is good because everybody's on the same level playing field, right? Yeah. But once you start to elevate yourself, once I started to get more money than a lot of my homies, I started to see a lot of resentment and things of that nature. Once I started to educate myself on what life really is about, I started to realize how ignorant of things that we were doing. All of us collectively were doing. And I'm like, I don't want to be ignorant. I don't want to do, like when they say, when you know better, you do better. So once I started to learn more and know better, I wanted to do better, right? Yeah. But I had to remove myself from them. Yeah. Because I'm like, y'all don't understand. And I don't have the time, the energy, and the patience to keep trying to force it into, because I was ruining relationships, Marquel. And I know you've probably gone through this when you get to a certain point where you know better and you see your friends and your family not doing better and you keep trying to push them to do the right. Yo, why are you doing that? Won't you come with, listen to me? It creates more fear. You think you better than me. You think you smarter than me. And you end up ruining relationships when you like, motherfucker, I just want you to live a better life.
Message. That's it.
I just want more for you than where we are now, but they're not ready to receive the message.
For sure. 100%. I agree. So again, I had 100. I had to go. I had to go through that again. That period of isolation where I had to be isolated for a minute for a series of years, right? And to come into my own. But it's like you said, even my homies who might be still moving around in the element or whatever. It's like still my bros. It's like I just can't be in certain environments. I can't afford to be in the environment because that might be the day when things hit the fan, and I just so happen to be over there. I can't. I got too much to lose.
You don't understand that, bro. That shit is real, man. I also want to talk about, I know the time is flying. Go from, man, before we even go, this is a real ass conversation, brother. You know, sometimes we don't know what to expect, man. And you came right out the gate talking that shit, bro. So we appreciate you, man. It's like real talk, man. But like you also said in the intro, you try to help 1 million service-based business add $1 million in revenue through automated client systems, right? Can you tell us about the course? Tell us how they could get in touch with you. Tell her, like, how do you get to that goal of helping 1 million, bro? And how close are you now?
So I think so man, again, man, it's crazy that you brought that up. So one thing, so again, when we said 1 million, this was a few years ago, so we haven't even updated about it. So again, everything is in alignment. So even when you read it earlier, I was like, maybe we need to revisit that, because at one point last year, I was like, why? When I would start asking these questions, why is it 1 million? Right? Is that an arbitrary goal? Like, are we really measuring that? Or are we just saying that because it sounds cool? You know what I'm saying? So to answer your question though, is one of the ways that we help impact this level of businesses is this is one way, right? Getting on platforms with dope individuals who got reach, because this is how we impact other individuals through other individuals, right? So I'll be able to impact individuals through y'all will be able to impact individuals through me, right? So and that's how the ripple effect works, right? So a prime example, a young lady messaged me earlier. She specifically helps wives, right? She helps wives become better wives in marriages. So she messaged me this day and she was like, thank you, your program did everything that it said it was going to do. She was like, I was charging $997. I charge $3,500 now. She said, I just enrolled my first $3,500 client. I got 18 book calls with people who have book calls because of the ads y'all helped me launch. She was like, thank you so much. She was like, you don't know how many marriages are going to be restored because you said yes. Because you said now the amount of marriages. So it's going to be marriages that's going to be restored because of the work that we've done that never even know who I am. It's going to be kids that are impacted. It's going to be communities that are impacted because of the work that I'm just saying yes, right? It's going to be whole kids who might have been bullies or might have been gangbangers or might have been killers, but because they're married, their family life dynamic is stronger because of the work that she does. And because we helped her put her marketing and stuff in place so she can impact more people. That's the ripple effect we're talking about. So that's how we do this, right? That's how we do this, and showing up and serving, just adding value. And I know a lot of people we won't end up working with, but I had people who watch our videos and they'll take something to go implement, and it'll change their business, that'll change their life forever. You know what I'm saying? So to answer your question about how they can contact us. So whatever your favorite social media platform is, whether that's Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, it's just Marquel Russell, MarQuel Russell, just MarQuel Russell. Shoot me a DM. Let's connect. I reply to my DMs. Let's connect. I like to connect with real people. And then also I put together a page. It's called scalemadeeasy.com. So just all spelled out, scalemadeeasy.com. And I got a ton of resources on there for business owners who want to build businesses more profitable, more scalable, more sustainable, more enjoyable, and exitable if you decide you want to sell your business at some point, or if you want to just exit it and hire a CEO to run a business.
There you go.
I just want to ask you this, Marquel, because this is very important for our community. The importance of creating something that's tangible, of that's tangible, that actually has the value of what you say the value is. I think
Hey, listen, talk it. Hey, talk it. Talk about it.
I'm going with this shit, right?
Talk about it.
I'm going with this, right? One of the sayings that we have on this show that I don't care, like I'm solidified in when you say like God, right? We're spiritual. This is bonus years for me, Marquel. Like they had bets I would never live to see 18. That's the kind of kid I was. Like bets, like had adults like, nigga, you ain't gonna make it. You ain't making it.
Right.
So it's no explanation for it. So again, by me understanding what path I'm on, our thing is impact over metrics. How are we gonna impact our community? And my goal is, again, to make it better than what I grew up in and how I grew up in. The problem that I'm seeing with a lot of people now, I'm not saying that you haven't experienced success, multiple people, doesn't matter what color. My biggest issue is you experience success, but you're creating these systems not to help people, but to actually now take advantage of the people that you know are in the same fucking position you was. And you didn't like it when you was in that fucking position, right? You didn't like it when you were broke. You didn't like it when you were hungry. You didn't like it, etc. But you create these programs and you know that people are looking for a way out. But instead of helping them, you're actually taking advantage of them. And I've just heard too many times where people have enrolled in these courses and have gotten their life fucking savings stolen and et cetera, et cetera. And I think like that's one of the biggest travesties that's going on right now is who to trust, Marquel. Who do we trust? Yeah, I see you're successful, but one of the biggest things that they say, like when we're teaching success, right? If you got the source, then why you want to give it to me at $99? You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you got the source, you're gonna teach me how to do what you do. Am I not gonna be your competition? If, like, people don't even think about it that way when they're looking at some of these courses that kind of sound too good to be true. But a lot of these courses are bullshit, and I'm just gonna call a spade, right? Yeah. I don't mind if you want to make money helping people. Fine, that's what business is. Provide a service or product to help people. But where I have the issue is creating a system that you know is bullshit. It's fluff. And you're taking people's money and you're taking their dreams and you're fucking using it for your financial gain and you're not giving anything in return and you're destroying people.
Message.
Wait, quick thing though, you know what I'm saying?
We gotta pay some bills. We'll be right back.
You know it ain't bullshit. That's right. Make sure y'all go to otbdigital.com if you want to learn how to build relationships and revenue. You want to know how we went from 0 sales to 2 million. You want to know how to build a personal brand and an inbound engine to actually generate some revenue for your business. Make sure you go there, especially for LinkedIn. It's all social media source across all platforms, how we've leveraged it, how we've done it. You can also get your cups, your mugs, your hoodies, your Bet on Yourself shirt, and just make sure you get that there. You know what I mean? Christmas is maybe a discount if you be.
I got on the Bet on Yourself shirt right now. You heard?
He got the watermelon drink.
Yeah, so what's your take on that, Marquel, about people, you know, all these gurus, and there's so many gurus and master classes now that it actually becomes sickening at a certain point, man.
Hey, listen, bro. It is crazy. And it's not getting so it's a whole nother episode in itself. Like I hear people that come to us and they're like, I paid such and such this, and they never deliver. I paid such and such this, and I haven't heard from them. I'm like, where I'm from, people get killed for less.
For that shit, yeah,
for less than that, right? So it's like, I'm like, they did what? And so it's the horror stories I hear, because here's the mistake that people make, right? Like, being able to do a thing is one set of skills. So so if you built $1 million business, that's one set of skills. That's impressive, right? Now, being able to teach is a different set of skills. Just because you can do a thing doesn't mean you can teach it. So I think a lot of times some of these individuals, some mean well, and they think because they've done it, they can teach it. But being able to do it is a set of skills. Being able to teach is a very rare set of skills. And being able to do both is a very rare set of skills. So my gift is teaching. Right. So I can take complicated concepts and break it down so that anybody can understand it and implement it. Everybody can. And again, I didn't realize this early on, But then I began to realize that, wow, this is a gifting that I have, right? So, and I haven't been taught how to do it, right? People are like, man, you're just such a natural with this. What kind of courses you went through to learn how to teach like that? And I'm like, I haven't gone through any. It's just a gifting, right? So it's like a lot of times people think, well, I had $1 million a day, or I made $1 million, well, I can do this, and I can teach you how to do it. But then they don't, and it's so high level because a lot of times they don't even know how they did it. They were successful despite themselves, or they just jumped in the right opportunity, or they had crazy credit card limits. Because one thing I learned later on in the game is that a lot of these cats leverage like credit cards to like grow their companies. So when I came up, I didn't have credit cards. I couldn't get funding. It wasn't even a thing. So I had to bootstrap everything. But it's like a lot of cats, they're coming in with different scenarios. A lot of cats, they'll have a big email list and they'll say, I'm going to teach you how to do X, Y, Z. But they're not sharing the way that they're able to have the success is because of this massive email list. So they're not talking about all the different assets that they have that help them do X, Y, Z, right? Without having those things. So a lot of times people will be set up. So I agree 100% in integrity. Like you only sell somebody something that's in their best interest. If it's not in their best interest, you're out of integrity. And again, like you said, bro, specifically our people get taken advantage of like crazy from our people, because some of our people, they'll get up and start making money and they'll start doing this and they'll start buying different stuff, or they'll at least go rent stuff or whatever to act like it's theirs, because they know our people culturally are aspirational people. So when they start seeing our people showing this and showing that and showing this, we'll automatically connect that to success. It will be like, okay, they got to be winning because they got that. And it's like, I tell my kids all the time, people who really got money don't look like they got money. They look like they got money. So never be misconstrued with thinking because they drive that, they got it, right? Or they're wearing that, they got it. They may be wearing what they have, right? And a lot of times, and I'm from Atlanta, so Atlanta is the capital. Capital of
that shit.
like finesse, like before the internet, like Atlanta is the capital of finesse. And then you get a lot of cats coming down here now on the internet taking advantage of folks. And a lot of times on the internet, people are making the connection of, oh man, a lot of these internet gurus taking advantage of cats living in Atlanta, or they from Atlanta. I'm like, no, these cats ain't from Atlanta. They moved down here because it's popping. So I think it's very important to be very careful, because when you're out, the internet makes the world small. So when you're out here taking advantage of people, like you got to be outside, right? You may take advantage of the wrong person, and you outside and you with your kids or whatever, and things could go very wrong. So when I was in the streets, I did legit business. Like I can still go out of my city anywhere, any hood, and I'm good. My kids good, because I ain't do no bad business when I'm on the streets, right? So when I left the streets, I was good. So even I bring that same energy into legit business. Whatever I sell, whatever I do, I stand on it 100%, because I know I got to go outside, and people show me that they see me, because when I'm out, people are like, hey man, what's up? Let me get a picture. What's up? So now imagine that being the other way. Imagine me not being solid, me not being who I'm supposed to be. You gonna bump into somebody. So it behooves you to do good business, because you're gonna have to answer for that if you ain't taking care of people at some point.
Yeah.
Say this last thing. I start seeing more and more online cats move around with security. And I used to be like, man, why these cats got security? And then I started hearing some of these horror stories, and I was like, oh.
Makes sense. You got wolf now. All right, makes sense. That's out your margin.
Like, oh, but again, none of that connected to me, because I was like, I'm thinking legit business. At first, I thought everybody was on the up and up, but then I started realizing that, oh man, it's just like the streets. It's just legit, and cats just talk different. But it's just like
transferable skills we were talking about earlier, bro. Like I just want to say, bro, that, you know, we've had a lot of guests on the show, bro. You're one that resonates with us personally, bro. Like you have a very similar story to us, bro. And this is why we made the show, because we need people from our community to see you, bro. They don't know there's a Marquel out here that's doing the right thing, that's doing it, you know, got their family, that's building a business, that went through, you know, trials and tribulations, bro. So I just want to say, man, thank you, because I'm inspired from this conversation, and we want to welcome you to the More Than the Title family, bro. And what we usually do, if you don't mind, you can put your number in the group chat where it says the people. You put your number when we start a group chat, if we got to play for you or something like that. But if there's any guest that we've spoken to in the past or future, you now have direct access to. And that's what we do, bro. We put people on together. We don't gatekeep. We put y'all together. If y'all do some good business, cool. If not, it's all good. We might have a play for you that we just see from 20 yards away. We might be hitting you later. You know what I mean? So welcome to the family, bro.
Locked in.
Locked in now, bro. So we appreciate
and I just want to say this too. I'm definitely gonna hit you up, Marquel, because guess what? I'm in the business of always learning to be better. Every day I try to be better at what I'm doing, right? And better myself. So there's some things that you said, like with the Facebook ads and things of that nature, that guess what? We could learn from that, right? We could learn from that. So I'm definitely going to hit you up and see what kind of resources you have and how I can educate myself better. And see, when you're on a path to be better, there's no pride involved.
Facts.
I don't have a problem learning from people. I don't care if you successfully higher than what I've reached or lower than me, because you can learn something every day. We go to these conferences that Shan's joining this and this and that, and we take notes, bro. Be clear. Every conference that we have paid to go to, and we pay. We buy the ticket, everything. But we go and we take notes. There hasn't been a conference that we have gone to that we have come back home and not implemented something from that conference to better our business. So for ladies and gentlemen, I just want you guys to understand, like, everybody doesn't have to be perfect, right? Whoever's a guru, whatever systems is out there, it's up to you personally to find your value in what you're learning, right? Information is all information until you put it to action, and then it becomes knowledge and actionable, right? Yeah. So, you know, if you got somebody, or if you got a course, or you got some type of resources, Brother Marquel is sending out a link where you could get some resources. Hey, man, get as many resources as you can to learn as much as you can, because it can only benefit you. So I want to say I appreciate you, Marquel, for you know, for just being a stand-up dude, man. And this was a dope episode, man. And we're gonna end it off by saying what we always say, man. You know what it is, man. Marquel, he told you his story. And that's only part. So we definitely gonna have a part 2, but he showed you very intimately his journey, what it took, the good, the bad, the ugly. But he always showed you that he had a dream. He had a dream to be better. He had a dream to do better. But none of that happened without the motivation to go get it. So the dream is free, but the hustle is sold separately, y'all. Y'all know what it is. So we out there. We're going to see y'all next week. I mean, on Thursday. Shit, I'm like, damn, we did so many pods. I don't know what day it is. Thursday, we back. 4 for the week. More than excited.
What you know about me? Seen it all, heard it all. Oh, what you know about me? I done it all, just one.